Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow. Slight change of direction. We spoke last week about a time machine, like a time machine phone box, and you could go anywhere, anytime, and that. What did you say? I said, go back in my time or the historic times, those kind of things. What did you say?
Originally the gladiators. I wanted to see
Yeah.
epic battles.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it. Being not time machine related, like just now, places, travel and places. Have you done your fair share of travel, really, or have you got places that you like in particular?
I won't count traveling with the sport, just from the point of view as a lot of those travels were airport, cheap hotel, sports hall, one restaurant, airport.
Okay.
So I'll leave those out because I think if you count those, I've been a lot of places, but haven't seen them to the extent. Traveling has never been something for me personally that I've really been like drawn to doing. I've never wanted to like take a year out and
You didn't
go
do that gap
anywhere.
year.
No, I never did any of that. And it's never, I hear people doing it all the time. They're like, you have to go, you have to do this, you have to. I'm like, do I have to? I'm quite cool where I'm at personally. But
Ones and zeros.
ones
Ones
and
and
zeros,
zeros.
baby. But I would like to go do all of Asia, that side of the world, and really like go into it at some point. But I'm in no rush in terms of time frame of life. If I do it
You
now or if I
haven't.
do it in 10.
You haven't yet, but you want to.
Yeah, I have visited Japan and enjoyed Japan, but it was not to the extent that I would like to do it all. So I'd
Okay.
like to do a far more extensive look at that part of the world. But other than that, not massively. I've done a lot of America where my dad used to live there. So I've spent quite a lot of time in the States and enjoyed that. And Europe again, kind of in and around. But Asia's the place that draws me. That's kind of the side of the world where I want to go and see what it's all about, because it feels like it's significantly different to what we are in comparison to, say, America, where I find you can see the differences for sure, but there's so many parallels.
Yeah, culturally.
You got a
Uh,
space? I couldn't even guess where you'd
I,
want to go to.
I always enjoy traveling, and I know you say about the competing, and it is true that I've been to many places and not seen places, and you can kind of not count that as traveling. However, on the flip side of that, I would say when you go to these places, especially when I've stayed with people a length of time prior or after a competition, I think you actually see these places for what they really are, because you get out of the tourist district. I can remember, for instance, we've been to Italy quite a few times, and I can remember one trip to Italy, and we sat at someone's table and they fed us a full meal, like the Italian style meal and everything. And it's like, this is more than traveling. This is immersing yourself in the way
The
that people
culture.
live. Yeah, and when you go around just their daily routine. So I would say that's definitely a bonus with the competing. I too have done a lot of America. Our holiday growing up, I was fortunate that we had an away trip every year, and we would go to America. And I always have a affinity, is that the right word, to America. Like we've already said, they've got their own problems and everything else, so we won't go into that. But I just love the space of America. I just love the grandness of it. You can take England, put it in a corner of Texas. It's like we did our honeymoon where we went from San Francisco down the coast and back up and round, and that just the sheer space. I just love that out there. Our honeymoon, I would say, we went. That's one of the best places that I've been. I would want to go back to. Like you say, no rush, but I want to make a point of going back to was the Great Redwoods at the Sequoia, or the Great Sequoias at the National Forest. That, because I've got a thing with trees, bonsai trees and that. And I suppose that's kind of born off of that a little bit as well. And that's when you see this 2,000-year-old tree that is big enough that they've got a road going through it. It's like, so I would like to get back there and explore that and a few more of the parks. I would like to take the camper. I've got a 1971 camper to China. That's on my bucket list to do. I want to drive to China. I drove with a friend to Milan years back, and I was looking on Google Maps the route that we went. And then when I was backtracking, it was like, oh, I wonder how far east you can go. And I followed a road all the way into China, basically. And I thought, when the girls grow up and move on, and we've got a bit of time to ours, Lauren and I jump in a camper and fit an extra fuel tank and that. And I thought, drive to China.
Across the world.
Yeah, I thought that would be cool. Drive there and then get it shipped back or something like that.
see how it goes, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Then decide. Yeah. I love it.
And then for when I abducted you at the start of the year for your what's it called, pre-wedding bachelor party solo, the place that I took to welcome that beach, that's like my happy place. That's like if I could be anywhere in the world at any point and be happy, I would choose. Like, I want to see Sequoia. I want to drive to China. I'd like to do Australia, New Zealand, things like that, Japan, when the time comes. But if I could ever be at a happy place, it would be there. I'd be quite happy living there. Have you got a happy place somewhere in the world?
I've got the cheesiest, most horrific answer to this question, and it's only because I got asked this the other day, and this is just what come out, so I'll just be honest with you. It's where my wife is, and the reason this comes up is because of Brexit. There is a small
it's because she feeds you.
There's a small chance that at the end of this year, she might get booted out of this country. Tiny chance. But if she does, then I get booted with her because that's the happy place. So that's the reason that comes up is just because at the minute it feels relevant. Like as tied as I feel to home and like my business is here, my friends are here and everything. If she had to go, then I have to go. And that's it. If I was going to pick a happy place, there's a certain beach in Cyprus where just a lot of my childhood was spent. I don't really like going to Cyprus anymore, mostly because they try to get me in for military service every time I get off the plane. But there's a certain beach where, like you said, it's just a happy place. It's just there's a lot of happy memories and good times that have happened there. So associate it. I liked what you said about America with fitting England into Texas, because I think for a lot of people, they think of America as just Texas. They think of America as just this one thing, but actually I think it's basically 50 different countries, because you can go to one side of it and then go to the other, and it's so different, like just from climate to what's growing to what they eat, and then even down to like the way they behave. Like you can't say an American is like this, because an American in Seattle and an American in California, they're two different breeds. They're very different people. So I think that's really interesting about it, is that it's basically 50 countries on one big landmass.
It's the center of the universe, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. It's where it all began.
Some of them, they don't leave the country at all. I think the majority don't, do they? They don't have to.
I got the stat. It's something like, it's ridiculous. It's something like 93% of Americans don't have a passport.
No way.
This came up the other day on a podcast. It's an insane number. Have never and will never and have no plans of ever leaving the country.